Arsenal now lead the way in the Premier League with only 2 games left by a 2-point lead. Obviously, last weekend I was crucial for that. That's where they gained the advantage. Possibly the biggest VAR decision that we've seen so far in the 7 or so years that it's been around. This is probably the biggest goal or biggest moment that it's ever had. It's arguably the biggest kind of call it's ever had to make because of what it means at both sides of the table and both teams. And I thought, to be honest, if I'm giving my opinion on it, I thought they made the wrong decision. But there's been talk about this all week. So much has been made of this, but obviously, really, that game was pretty crucial because Arsenal were on top for most of the game, but wasn't finding the breakthrough. When they did, it looked like they'd done it. They got the win that they needed to keep that lead intact. That they gained over City, with City's dropping points in the week. And then obviously West Ham got what looked like a last-minute equaliser, which ultimately then was chalked off after a huge VAR check. To start with, it looked like it had been given, but then we see, Arteta going mad, Arsenal players, they're going mad, they want it looked at. Referee goes over to the monitor. We know what usually happens then. The goal usually does get chalked off. I mean, I thought both players went for the ball. I think you players entitled to go for that. But they reckoned it was there's a foul, and that's the decision it comes to in the end. But it's made many wrong decisions in the past, VAR. But what's so significant about this one is it obviously could be the goal that sends West Ham down. It stopped them getting a point, which would have brought them a point closer to Spurs, only a point off of them, and then it also meant Arsenal pulled 2 points, or at the time 5 points clear at the top, which means that's why they've now got that 2-point lead over Man City. They would have been level on points, and with City having those 2 big 3-0 back-to-back wins, that could have been the goal that changed the direction of the title race. But like I say, Arsenal got themselves in such a strong position now, the closest they've been in so many years. 2 wins in 2 games that look straightforward on paper, but I'll talk more about those ones in a minute. And I can see why West Ham so frustrated about this decision that's gone against them. But anyway, we're going to move on to this week's fixtures, but I did need to touch on that because that has obviously had a major say. Whether it's wrong decision or right decision, it's had a massive say, and it might have just decided the season of both of these 2 clubs. It might have been the goal that sent West Ham down, and the goal that won Arsenal, or the league, or the decision even that was that led to it. Anyway, so we see a Friday night game this week. Aston Villa play at home to Liverpool. Now, this is interesting because Aston Villa are 5th, Liverpool are 4th. I know the goal difference separates these 2. This will be a bit. Both of the top 5 looking good for Champions League now. They're probably both going to get in there. Although if one of them, whatever the result is here, Bournemouth, if they was to beat Man City in the midweek, would have a chance to get themselves to 1 or 2 behind them and actually be in the picture for the final day for the top 5 and 6th place. Now actually could in fact be a Champions League spot. So Bournemouth or Brighton going for 6th place. One of them finishes 6th. Whoever that is out of those, then what could happen is with Villa winning the Europa League, that will mean it'll open up. They'll qualify by winning the Europa League if they finish 5th. So that would mean that a 6th position would become available for an English club. So we could see Bournemouth or Brighton in the Champions League, which would be massive. But as for this game, Liverpool are on a better run, but the last 2 performances have not been particularly impressed with. I didn't think they was brilliant against Chelsea. I thought it was a game where 2 teams out of form sort of faced off, which actually created quite a good game on the day. But I think they did. There was on a better run, but United, they fought back in, but also again they can't seem to defend at the moment, Liverpool, and their performances, like I said, they've been better. They're getting the wins on the board now, which has got them into that top 4 position. However, they've not been convincing, and I think away at Aston Villa, Aston Villa side who are edging closer to securing the top 4 or 5 or whatever. However, all the concentration, I think a lot of the focus is going to be coming into the final. They're in that Europa League final, and I think there's going to be a lot of focus on that. However, they do need to get these results over the line in the Premier League. They do need to just get something out of these last games just to ensure that they're over the line when they go to City on that final day, because that could be tough. It could still go wrong. But I think they're in a very, very strong position. So I think this one's close, because I think Liverpool... Yeah, but neither of them are on great form. Villa are on better form, very good in Europa League, and I thought the recent league performances, they've been on a bit of a bad run in the league, though, and I think that's kind of how they got themselves dragged back down into this fight. But I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I think both of them, there's hardly anything between them in the league, and I think neither of them have been on great form in the Premier League. So I think I'm going to go for a draw there. But it's an interesting game. It could still be a twist in that top four kind of, or top five battle with teams coming up behind them. But if one of them wins here though, they'll be in there though. So I think they'll definitely be both hoping for the win here. So Man United and Nottingham Forest. Man United have got their place now. It looks like they've got the place in the top three, and Forest are now safe as well. So that means obviously one of Spurs and West Ham will be relegated now. Nottingham Forest are safe. And their Premier League performances have been very good as of late. They're on an unbeaten run in the Premier League. And like I said, I've been impressed. I think Pereira has done really, really well. He's clearly the manager you want to bring in if you're fighting relegation, because he did this with Wolves last year, pulled them out of trouble. But with Forest, he's managed to really just completely turn it around, and he's got them on a really, really good run in the Premier League, and that's why they've secured safety at a crucial point in the season. I thought they went behind in that last game, had to fight back. They fought back though. Will Gibbs-White be fit for this game? I'm not actually 100% sure about that. That could have a major impact. Could Forest get something at United? I definitely think it's possible, especially if Man United seem to have they're there now in terms of that top three position. Could it be a game where I still think they might want to finish strongly? I still think they want to respond to a performance away at Sunderland that wasn't great last time out. I think they'll just get the win at home, Man United. I'll go for a 2-1, but a draw wouldn't surprise me with the Forester on. I will say that. London derby, Brentford against Crystal Palace. Big game this, because Brentford are sitting in 8th and still knocking on the door for Europe. Could still get there. Palace, their hope of Europe now comes through the Conference League. I don't think they can't get in there through the Premier League now. Premier League campaign's not been great, but if they can win that Conference League, they'll qualify for the Europa League, and be good. What will probably be a good send off for Glasner, because I think he's going, and it would get him another trophy, and it would get him into, and it would just get him another trophy. It was 2 trophies in a row, and it will be really sort of establish themselves. But Premier League form, particularly as of late, it's all been brilliant. It looked better, quite good against Everton actually when they got the draw, but fell apart against Man City. I know Man City seem to be getting some form together now, but that said, they were poor. I'm going to go for, I think Brentford being at home, I think Brentford will win. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Brentford. So we have Wolves against Fulham. Wolves already relegated. Fulham not entirely out of the pitch for Europe, but realistically they probably are now. That said, I think they will get a win here just against the Wolves side that are not, that since they've been relegated, it really has just been a case of just waiting for the season to end, really, just waiting to start up next season. They've really, obviously nowhere near good enough, of course, obviously. There's been some players, players like Bueno, and players like that have stood out for Wolves this season. There's been the odd bright spark, but overall the season's just been a complete and utter disaster, so they'll want this over. I think Fulham will get the win here. I'm going to go for 1-0, which would be a good result for them, but could get them maybe a half finish. However, I think a lot of the talking point with Fulham over the coming weeks and months or so will be Marco Silva. Will he stay? There's interest in him. There's a lot of talks that he could be going. We'll find out, because that's one thing that would be a massive blow for Fulham, losing Marco Silva. Talk about managers moving around another day, but they certainly won't want that to happen. Leeds are at home to Brighton. Leeds are safe now after that last weekend. They got the draw against Spurs, and they've been very good run in the Premier League, really good run, and they're at home to a Brighton side that are still in that conversation for the top 6. That said, I don't see Leeds losing here, despite Brighton responding last week well against Wolves to the poor performance the previous week, and being on overall a really good winning run. Majority, I think 5 of the last 6 have been a win, or something like that, and their performances have been good, very good actually. They've look at different teams what they were midway through the season, but they're going away to a Leeds side that seems to be so hard to beat at the moment. With that in mind, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to go for an entertaining game. I'm going to go for, I think, a 2-2 draw in that one. Everton and Sunderland. Everton at home. Everton have to win. Everton really have to win if they're going to be in that. If they're going to keep their European hopes alive. Sunderland out of that conversation. A really successful first season back in the Premier League, but the form's dipped a bit recently, and I think they have to get this win here, Everton, at all costs. It was a good performance against Man United though for Sunderland, and Everton was so good against City, but then thrown it away a bit against Crystal Palace. I'll go for Everton to get the win though. I'll go for 1-0, but yeah, it could be tough. Newcastle and West Ham. What a game this is. We spoke about West Ham earlier. What that decision meant last week meant for their season. They had to get something here. If they don't get something here, they're at risk of not even being in the picture on the final day. They're 18th now. They're the team that for so long it was them who was just above Spurs. The pressure was all on Spurs. Now all of a sudden, that one weekend that swung the results in Spurs' favour, where they got that win against Villa and West Ham got battered at Brentford. Since then, it's been a lot of pressure's been on West Ham, and you can tell. Obviously, though, this game, like the game last weekend, if they got that equaliser there, the conversation might be a lot more positive from a West Ham perspective right now. But seeing as that's disallowed, we are where we are here. It's a case of they have to just try and win these two games. They have to do something. Newcastle are safe. They can't go anywhere. Newcastle have had a very disappointing season, but they're okay now. They're safe. Will they? How up for this game will they be? I think they want to finish the season strong. But if this comes down to who wants it more, then you'd have to look at West Ham, obviously. But that also comes with a lot of pressure as well, and a lot of almost an expectation on them that they've got to do something. I'm not sure I see them winning here, but they cannot lose. They just cannot lose this game. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, which could keep them in the picture for the final day. There's what I'm going to do is there's one more. There's a Monday night game which is Arsenal and Burnley. We've got the cup final coming up this weekend, which my team are in, of course, Chelsea. So what I'll do is I'll do a prediction for that in a minute as well. But what I'll do is I'm going to leave Bournemouth and City and Chelsea and Spurs. I think I'm going to have to leave them just to another video because I kind of want to see the outcome of the cup final before I try and predict those two games. So what I'll do is I'll do this Monday night game, then we'll go for the cup final. Then I will do a separate video, I can assure you, where I will talk more about those two fixtures midweek, which are the two final games of match week 37 before we get to the final day, because both those games will be crucial for Tottenham's survival hopes, for Chelsea trying to get any form back this season in the league, and of course City, massive game for them. I mean, they just have to win at Bournemouth. It could be a case Arsenal could be champions before the final day. The form Bournemouth are on, huge 16-game unbeaten run, I think it is. They could finish it off, and they've got something to play for themselves. We spoke about that top 6 race earlier. So we'll do the Monday night game. Arsenal at home to Burnley. This has to be a win for Arsenal, doesn't it? I think that's the reality now. I think they're going to do it. This will put them 5 points clear. And if City don't beat Bournemouth, that would then put them as champions before the final day. But either way, I think they'll go into the final day with at least a 2-point lead. I can't see them slipping up home to Burnley. I really can't. I know they wasn't quite firing against West Ham. They got away with it, essentially. But I'm going to go for a 3-0 Arsenal against a Burnley side that have simply got nothing to play for. They're already down. They haven't won in so long. I just can't see it. You never know, but I just can't see it. Personally, I think Arsenal might be there now. So the cup final. City, it's typical from a Chelsea perspective, as City has really just started to hit form again now. They had the result against Everton, and we had the draw against Liverpool, but then since then they've got those 2-3-0 wins against Brentford and Palace. So it's a bit of a shame that had to happen now. As soon as the fixture come up against them, they've really hit form again. But this cup final is what our season's all about from a Chelsea perspective. We have to win this. Obviously for Man City as well, they could still end the season with all 3 trophies, which would just be incredible. But realistically, the best they can probably hope for is a cup double, with them now really having to look over to Arsenal to drop something in 2 games that they're expected to win. They kind of blown it from their point of view against Everton. I think though this is tricky for Chelsea, but cup final, things can happen. It's not a normal game. It's an occasion. It's a competition we've got a proud history in. Not so much recently, but overall we've got a proud history in this competition. We could definitely do something here. City recently, they've been very good in this. They picked up quite a few cups recently, but I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful from a Chelsea perspective we could do something. I thought the performance against Liverpool was better, and we needed that coming into this game. If we was going in off the back of that Nottingham Forest game, I'd have no hope. And I find it very hard to find the positives for us at the moment. There's a lot's going to be about the new manager coming in. It's looking like it's going to be Xabi Alonso. I'll do another video about that soon. But it's looking like Xabi Alonso, but still a lot of other candidates in the running. A lot of the talks about that. But if you can win this, gives us a trophy. It just gives us something. Any season where you win a trophy is a season to remember. So we could actually still salvage this season, I think, because that's what I want more than anything is to win a trophy. But of the league season, it's just been nowhere near good enough. It's been horrendous. But I really hope we can do it on the day. We've got some trouble. We've got some problems though. Neto and Garnacho, both of their fitness is there's a question mark over. We're not sure whether they're going to be ready to go for tomorrow or not. We know Sanchez is out, which I don't really think there's much in it between him and Jorgensen really, so I don't really think that matters too much. But we are also fortunate about Jesse Derry because I think this would have been such a good game for him, but it's such a shame that he's not going to be ready for the rest of this season. A few more injuries as well, I believe. And Esteval has obviously been out for a while, so we are a bit low on numbers. My honest prediction is I think we'll show up and I think we'll really fight, but I can't predict a Chelsea win from if I'm being 100% honest. So I'll go for a 2-1 City win, but I'm hoping that I'm wrong on that one for sure. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the cup final. Let me know your thoughts on this title race and this relegation battle as well, and also be sure to let me know your thoughts on that Arsenal the decision in the West Ham Arsenal game last week. Was that the wrong decision? Was it the right decision? What do you think? Because one thing's for sure though, that's had a major say on the outcome of this season.